Right.
Someone make that happen with CG. I want to see that. As a
No one else does.
I just want to see. You want to
Do
see?
you have any weed? You'd be so much cooler if you did.
See, I want to see that, but he has to say y'all. Yeah.
Hey, this week on Crossover Event, we're going to talk about something that's terrible. It's really bad. It's really bad movies that we happen to actually love. And
Sorry.
And you're like, oh yeah, that's the thing everybody's doing now, but you don't understand. Now, I can't speak for Harris, aka Dr. Nerdlove over here.
Hey, everybody.
But myself and Chris, something that we also have in common, amongst other things, is that we don't really like wasting our time watching bad movies. I know that's a thing for you guys because you love laughing at things,
Dude,
laughing at people,
We'll
laughing
do
at
the
things from the past.
reviews.
Yeah, we'll
where
do the
we're
reviews.
Like, this is the worst film this
Yeah.
year, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta see it." I'm like, "You're just encouraging
Yes.
them."
Yes, you're going to make them make more. But yeah, you and I, we're not really
those people.
don't really like have a night of like, let's watch bad movies. It's like, oh no, let's watch good stuff that I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
However, there are things that are considered bad that we kind of like.
Yeah.
And that's what today's episode is.
Yeah. So bad. It's wait, hold on. Best movie you think is the worst movie, or most people do. In fact, we'll do things. I guarantee you, there'll be stuff today that will be like, Martin will be like, "Well, this," and I'll be like,
I got a movie that I know is bad. I've rewatched it recently,
"Oh,
but I just love it.
well, what is it?"
Oh, you want me to start off?
Oh,
Why
yeah.
not?
Well, after that lead, and you have to.
Yeah,
Sure.
right. We're
So-
like after these commercial messages, we'll find out what it is.
Yeah. So I would start off with a movie that has two titles. I saw it when I was a kid. And it's the thing, like, normally when a movie is bad that
Is
you
Roger
still
Corman
love.
involved?
No, surprisingly not. But usually it's a movie you saw in your youth and you go like, oh, but the nostalgia, it makes me love it. And sure, I've always had that, but it's been decades since I recognized, like, this is not a good movie. And yet, I still enjoy the shit out of it.
Well, don't keep us hanging on tenterhooks. What is it?
Huh? What's what?
Do people still say hanging on tenterhooks?
That's
I
expression
don't
was
think
over
I
this
even know what a
movie
tenterhook
I'm going to
is.
mention.
That
Movie
That shit is tight, yo.
This movie has two titles. I knew it as Return of the Dragon, although I believe its alternate title is Way of the Dragon. It's one of Bruce Lee's movies.
Oh.
Bruce Lee, or Bruce L.I. Lee?
No. The genuine Bruce Lee.
So you're talking about one of the ones that was the hastily put together. This is their footage we got, so we'll make a sequel.
No. You like that's Game of Death where he had died and
Yeah.
they
They had that one scene with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that they hadn't done anything with, and then a bunch of like outtakes. And
Yes.
kind of
This is prior to that.
Okay.
I must have saw this in 1970 or something early. Yeah, but it would have been like 72 or 73. I saw it at the theater, at the Majestic Metro, and it was one of those theaters where you would go and they would just run a bunch of exploitation movies all day.
Yeah.
I think I might have saw it. It might have been a double feature with a Pam Grier prison movie, if that that gives you
right.
context.
Yeah.
But yes,
Which one?
yeah, right. But the thing about Return of the Dragon is it has the famous line, "Say, man, you got any Chinese spare ribs?"
Is that really where that's from?
That's where that's from.
I did not know that.
Yeah. No. It's a typical kind of one of these stories, kung fu stories where Bruce he comes from China to visit his uncle and family in Rome who run a restaurant, but they're being pushed around by gangsters.
This is literally the plot of half of the kung fu movies ever made.
Yes. He comes in to help, and he sees they're being bullied by gangsters, and he's there to kick some ass and get things straight. And it turns out the uncle's always like, no, don't do that. And he gets all the employees and everybody else to help him fight everybody. And even like one of the underbosses looks exactly like Wolfman Jack.
What's important is, does he sound like Wolfman Jack?
Hey, everybody, I'm about to get...
Not quite. But if you remember 70s fashion, it's like it is now, where it was all skinny jeans and very tight button-up shirts. And this dude is fairly round, but with the entire Wolfman Jack. You guys don't even know who Wolfman Jack is. Why am I trying to explain?
Hey, Wolfman Jack, I'm here with all the hits. Here's the Commodores.
But you get through this movie, and when you're at the climax where Bruce Lee and the other guys in the restaurant are actually fighting off the gangsters, and the uncle tells them, no, stop doing that. The uncle goes behind Bruce Lee's back and stabs his employees.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's a total betrayal thing, because he's like, I was actually kind of work out a deal with these gangsters. You guys are ruining it by fighting them. But the big climax to this is a fight between Bruce Lee and a very young Chuck Norris at the Roman Coliseum.
Oh, I know exactly
You know
which fight you mean. The one where
yeah.
he rips a handful of chest hair off of
Yep.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Not that. He breaks his arm, he breaks his leg, and Chuck Norris won't give up, and he finally just gets him and cracks his neck and does the Bruce Lee thing where he makes every face imaginable.
Yeah. Oh,
And then lays him down, takes his jacket, and very respectfully puts it over him. And when I saw this in the movie, some guy with his girlfriend behind me went, he's nice. He's like, yes, sure. He broke his neck, but he was very nice about it.
That was so polite.
Honor
Yes.
among warriors.
Yes. There was,
Even
there
though
was
it's
honor.
freaking Chuck Norris, it'd be like,
I know exactly.
liar, Texas Ranger.
Yes, but of all Bruce Lee's movies, it is my favorite. And I was just tooling around the other day and saw that it was on. I can't remember if it was Tubi or Amazon Prime, but I saw it was there, and I was like, you know what? Why not? And I rewatched it, and I was like, yeah, for all the bad dubbing of horrible dialogue and everything that goes on, I just love this movie to death. I could watch it every day.
All the Bruce Lee originals are totally worth watching. Like, there's only like 4. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
there's
yeah. There's right. There's
and
only
then
4.
there's 18 remixed Bruce Lee films.
Right. And then the Bruce Lie,
Yeah.
and then everybody else.
And some of those aren't bad, actually, for the record. But
You know what? At the time, when I was a kid watching them on Kung Fu Theater, I got angry that it was like, oh, they said Bruce Lee, but it's Bruce Lie. What a lie. But then later watching, I was like, you know what? Bruce Lie is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, as
Well,
imitators go.
there are multiple actors who even went under that name.
Are you
So,
serious?
yeah.
Oh, there's like 3 different Bruce Lees that were like post-death Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Bruce Lee, Bruce L-E-E-E-E, Bruce L-I-E, Bruce L-I, Bruce
Yep.
L-I-I.
Many. Even one of Jackie Chan's first performances, he was actually credited as one of those alternates.
Right. That I knew.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Like, although, I know the movie you're talking about, although I think I saw it under a different title entirely. That
really?
was almost every Chinese Kung Fu movie from the 70s
Right.
has 18 different titles it's been released under.
Okay.
But Enter the Dragon is the best one for me. Still.
Well, look, it's clearly the best produced.
Yeah.
And the best production. No doubt about it.
It's the most iconic, no question.
Yes. It's the one that gets repeated and remixed and over and over and over again. Anytime you see a scene with somebody fighting somebody in a house of mirrors, it came from Enter the Dragon.
But I'll be honest with you, at least half the reason for that is because of A Fistful of Yen.
I know. From
movie,
the
the
Kentucky Fried
parody of
Movie.
it. Yeah.
No, that is the best.
A toy robot? Take him to Detroit.
No.
Detroit. Harris, what about you?
Where to start? I mean, part of the thing is as an old school animation and anime fan, I have an embarrassment of riches to choose from. Emphasis on embarrassment. But my first call would probably have to be a movie that, let us be honest, failed so hard it killed an animation studio. It is the most aggressively 90s movie I have ever seen in my life.
That says a lot.
And I would have to say it would be Titan AE.
Okay.
Which, a movie with, by all rights, a killer cast. I mean, it's Matt Damon, Janine Garofalo, John Leguizamo, Ron Perlman has a cameo in it. It is
the animated voice actors.
Yeah, the animated voice actors. It has an uncredited script by Joss Whedon, and if you know Joss Whedon's ticks, you can tell it's Joss Whedon's movie. And then you watch the movie, and it's a lot of, well, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And I absolutely adore it. It is the movie that Don Bluth has been trying to make for a very long time. It hits all of his tropes. The same 3 characters, the 3 human faces he can draw. Incredibly, like...
Oh, come on.
That's... Wow.
Wow.
Oh, you know, he can draw 4, but...
We're going to get comments on that.
He didn't have the fat guy in this one, so he's only got 3 of his 4. He's got the vaguely Asian main character who basically looks like Daphne if you gave her, like, 90s Riot Girl hair.
Wait, Daphne who?
From Dragon Slayer.
Oh, okay.
And then...
Oh, yeah. Took me a second.
Really most awkward attempt at making
Austin?
CG look like animation, and it doesn't quite work. A plot line where stuff happens out of nowhere, like apparently he can control electricity for no reason whatsoever. The plot is just, they go here, they go here, they go here, they go here. Movie's done. But honestly, I love the hell out of this. It's got the most aggressively 90s soundtrack you can imagine. The only thing that I'm surprised is that Creed, where they use "Can you take me higher?" and every ad. Did not make it into the soundtrack, but it's just got everything else did. It is just, I would say it's a cinematic turd of farce.
Turd de farce.
Turd de farce. That's good. I've never heard that before.
And then
that's what you should title the episode, producer.
Yes.
Turd de farce.
And then just to add the chef's kiss of badness. Literally 4 to 6 months later, Treasure Planet comes out, and it's the exact same movie.
Well, except Treasure Planet is almost unwatchable, and Titan AE is actually pretty fun.
Okay, I keep getting the impression that Treasure Planet was better than Titan AE.
From people who are weird, hardcore Disney fans, but I just rewatched it not that long ago.
Oh, did you?
I can tell you why people like it, because there's a cat girl in it that made a whole lot of furries sit up and go, wait, what?
Honestly, those
fine,
movies came out so close together that in my brain, they're the same movie. I mean, they're not the same movie, but if I remembered anything from either of them, I remember nothing, actually. But if I did, I couldn't tell you which one of the 2 movies.
It's the Deep Impact Armageddon of the 90s.
Right.
Yeah. I really like Titan IE. From my memory, which is very long.
I thought I liked it.
Keep it that way.
I thought I liked it until you just described it, and now I'm like, I think I actually hate this
I'm the
movie.
same way with Final Fantasy, the movie, when that came out.
Final Fantasy.
I knew I hated it from the very
I saw it.
first frame.
I loved it. I was like ecstatic about how much I loved it. And everyone's like, "Are you shitting me? It's terrible." I was like, "No, it's so good." But now there's like a resurgence of people going, "It actually was pretty good."
No,
it
wasn't.
God damn it! Yes, it was.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
That movie and Dungeons and Dragons came out the same year, a month apart from each other. I was studying computer animation at the time. Me and all my classmates were like, "Oh God, our jobs are over. This perfection has been achieved. Why are we even doing this?"
But the animation was really great.
It was, but we came out and watched both of those, and just every single time we're watching out, and our spirit has just been crushed a little bit further.
Yeah, I just remember watching Final Fantasy and going like, "Oh, this is amazing. So is anything going to happen here?"
They spent so much money on the animation that they forgot to hire a writer.
It did. Cerebrally. It's very philosophical.
That's you could apply that to Twilight.
Dude,
because they spent a lot of time just staring at each other.
It's that moment that happens in every Final Fantasy game where they're like, here is the longest cutscene from the game that someone's going like, but wait, what does this mean in the context of, existence? What? No, stop! What does do it? Where's the point break thing?
Yeah. Is it my turn to attack?
Anyway, I'm gonna pick something even further back. So there was this movie that came out that we've talked about very favorably before because it deserves favorable mention, which is one of the best ever King Arthur adaptations, Excalibur. It was
how is this?
It's not
a bad movie.
Okay,
okay, all right.
But it was directed by this guy named John Borman.
Okay.
Who was a pretty big quantity at that time, and that was that movie did really well. Everyone was like, "Damn, you knocked it out of the park with this thing!" I still remember.
It's still the best King Arthur movie.
It's Okay.
Y'all, you don't understand. There was about to be a fight.
Running through the files. Yes. Okay. It's fantastic, but everyone's like, let's let this guy do whatever he wants, and we often know that doesn't always play out well. John Boorman is no Denis Villeneuve, but
he could have been.
He could have been, but he moved on to this film with one of the biggest stars of his day, Sean Connery, who was just kind of getting out of the James Bond
I know which one you're going for.
Well, of course you know which one I'm going for.
Look, after you played James Bond for years, you got to not be typecast.
I got to do something really
different. You got to go radically different.
And he did, although it was still Sean Connery started as a male model, right? And
a bodybuilder.
A bodybuilder. And, he was a beautiful man. And even though he was even then getting a little gray at the point where Zardoz was released by this director with him as a star, he spent the whole movie in basically just a G-string and some weird kind of half-ass
He had some bandoliers.
Bandoliers,
a G-string, and hip boots.
Yeah,
I mean thigh waders.
And it's a high-concept science fiction movie.
It is.
Where there's a world where there's the one part of the world that's just barbarian road warrior wastelands just without cars, just people running around like the beginnings of civilization, killing each other. But there's this other world of rich people, because this is in the future, not the past, who are like, okay, well, the apocalypse happens, but we survived in our cool little protected areas, but we're kind of worried about all these barbarians down here, so we're just going to use our knowledge of history to manipulate the shit out of them into just hating each other and thinking of us as gods. So they send this giant
That's what's
floating
happening right
head.
now, though.
It's exactly what's happening right now. They send this giant floating head down here who makes fun of the autistic reporter in the audience. Oh wait, no, I'm getting confused with something else.
Okay.
But who vomits up guns to them as take guns and says the penis is bad, the gun is good.
So it's a documentary.
I know it was incredibly prescient film by today's standards.
Was the head in the shape of Wayne LaPierre?
But the one barbarian. McConnery is like, oh, I'm smarter. McConnery?
You just said that. You can play the Sean Connery with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I did. Oh my God.
All right.
Someone make that happen with CG. I want to see that.
No one else does.
I just want to see.
Do you have any weed? You'd be so much cooler if you did.
See, I want to see that, but he has to say y'all.
He'll say it, but it won't sound right.
Off topic, I saw the best meme ever on that joke. Where it's like, do y'all have any air conditioners? Sure, it'd be cooler if you did.
That's pretty good.
That's so simple, but why did I solely now sing it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so he climbs on board. Sean climbs on board the giant floating head because he's like, I don't believe in the whole God thing. Finds his way back to the place with all the rich people, and they're all like, ooh, kinky, a barbarian, and he's good looking. Yes, he is. And they're like, yes, we'll play with you. Come in, stupid barbarian. You'll be our toy. But he's not stupid at all. He wants to get in there and burn the place down. Man, I fucking love Zardoz.
I gotta say, I saw Zardoz as a kid and barely remembered it, and then watched it later as an adult. I was like, this movie's really trippy. It's not what I thought it was.
It's super.
But even hearing your description now, it's not what I remembered from before. I was like, because I was thinking okay, yeah, it is kind of out there. Maybe it's kind of, maybe it's kind of dumb. I don't know. But hearing you talk about it now has me super interested in rewatching it.
I genuinely don't think Zardoz is dumb at all. I think it's
right.
It's at worst a kind of abstract, but like I said, wildly prescient, and it has the same sort of fashion-wise thing that Logan's Run, a much more successful film from the same time.
Yeah, because and that period in the 70s was big on sci-fi movies with messages.
Yeah,
Planet of the Apes. And even the Omega Man, which is a movie that is considered a terrible movie.
Yeah,
and yet
but it's pretty good.
Yeah, but it does speak to a lot of things.
It was an adaptation of Richard Matheson's I Am Legend.
Yes, exactly.
The Omega Man.
The first time I ever saw Zardoz, I saw that with Master Pancake, our local live version of Mystery Science Theater, and they actually had Joel from Mystery Science Theater there. They were doing this one, as far as I know, unprompted. They didn't like work it out in advance. They were literally just doing this off the cuff. And about 2/3 of the way through, they quit talking. Yeah. Because it was just like, I don't know how to make fun of this because I don't know what's going on.
It's a film that, well, yeah, because they were talking through the first half. It is a really smart film. It's just so weird, and it was so foreign, and it was bombed by critics. They hated it.
I can tell you why they hated it, because they got to the reason why it's called Zardoz and went, fucking really?
No, that is the thing. I think what sabotaged the movie is that it's the question of why is it Zardoz? And when you get to the answer, not going to tell you, you go like, wait, what? That's goofy. But it'll make you like miss everything that you saw up to that point.
It's a film that requires more than one watching, I'll tell you that. And it is, I agree, it's a little ponderous. It's definitely kind of a long film. It spends a lot of time having people ponder their philosophical questions and all this. But it is, in the end, like really rewarding.
I always thought he made that movie before Excalibur.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't know. I could have sworn it was from the after, but you could be right.
Because Zardoz just feels like a very 70s
the experts,
movie.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It's a very 70s movie where Excalibur was in the 80s.
Yeah, but early
80s. Yeah, like 80 or 81.
You could be right.
All right, everybody, run to IMDb and then share your thoughts in the comments.
Or you edit this part out where he questioned me, and we could just be good from
that. that would be better, because when you say like, "Hey, people, go check this out," no, the comments would already be like, "You idiot!
What?
It was
moron."
Yeah.
Martin, what's your next choice?
Okay, well, we're running out of time, but I will say it's funny. Based on what Harris said, it made me realize I know what my other answer is. And it is a movie that I never thought was bad until South Park did an episode dedicated to it, when it made me go, oh, holy shit, this is a bad movie. I can't stop loving it though. And it is the animated Heavy Metal movie.
I agree. It's a bad movie.
It is. It wasn't until South Park did something that it made me stop and question it. But it is one where I think I was 14 years old when I went to see it at a theater. And I'd been reading heavy metal and for years after I did. But even when I rewatch it, I want to rewatch it and laugh at it. But I fall back into the yes, but they did bring these certain stories to life. And the Bernie Wrightson animated story with the pilots being overrun by ghosts.
This is the best part.
This is still good. You can't even laugh at this. And with the Richard Corbin Den section, it's like you might look at it and laugh. It's like, man, this movie is just nothing but blood and titties. It is, but you get to that section, it's like this is an accurate reproduction of the source material.
Yeah.
So,
but John Candy's Den was
a little.
That was a bit of an odd choice.
It wasn't what I thought of, but I was like, it wasn't like I was watching it and going like, this doesn't work. I was like, oh. Okay.
This is a weird sort of choice for you for this topic though, because I agree with you. It's not a good movie, but it's still at all. But it's inherently super watchable because of the artists involved with it.
God, yeah.
The script is awful for this fucking thing. But
some of it is.
Some of the soundtrack is great.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah, some of it hasn't aged all that well. There's Sammy Hagar and shit in there that's like...
No, I'm sorry, that song still sucks.
No. I don't like a lot of Sammy Hagar, but that's one of the songs.
That's
that
one of his
good.
Best songs.
Veteran of 1,000 Psychic Wars.
But it's one that everybody thinks they love. Until they rewatch it, and they go, oh wait, this is not as good as I thought.
No. You have to go through the full cycle of, oh, I love this. Oh, I'm an adult now. I watch it. Oh my god, this is not that good. And later adult. Oh, well, now with today's times, it's problematic to go to the next phase of like, wow, it's so problematic, it can't even be shown anymore.
Yeah,
it's like secret contraband that I have to watch when nobody's around. Which makes it even more enjoyable.
You mean like Bakshki's other film, Coonskin?
I would say the entire Bakshi catalog.
Absolutely
everything. With the exception of his 1967 Spider-Man cartoon. Almost.
I didn't even know that existed.
Or his Mighty Mouse cartoons.
I know about that.
No, the song Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
That was Bakshi?
That was Bakshi, yeah.
Thank God for this man.
Yeah, so almost everything Bakshi's done except for Lord of the Rings is going to be, quote unquote problematic.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
And
I mean, Cool World's mainly problematic because it sucks.
because it sucks. Yeah. I mean, it's got problematic.
It's still there, but
elements to it, but just it just kind of sucks.
Hard to notice.
Like there's so many
suckiness.
Bakshi movies where you go like, I don't know about this, but you can still see, like, if nobody's watching to hear you praise it, you go like, I can see what's going on here. It's still original. There's something there. I kind of dig this, and man, he really went for it with that thing.
He's groundbreaking in terms of animation, where nobody was trying the shit he was doing.
He was
like
doing
rotoscoping.
He was yes, rotoscoping, which at the time he got dinged for, and then it became a thing that everybody does.
Yeah,
and just really, there's always the talk like, man, animation in America never goes adult like it does in Japan, but not him.
Yeah,
he was going fully for it.
And there's some pretty problematic Japanese animation, too. And for that, we turn to Harris for his choice, which I'm going to assume is that.
Tempting. And I was actually tempted to go for my next choice to be Rock and Rule, which is another one of those lost classics. But instead, I want to turn back to live action in terms of one that I found relatively late. And I found it, amusingly enough, because of Japanese animation. And it would have to be Walter Hill's magnum opus, Streets of Fire.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is a movie that is saved entirely by two things. First of all, the soundtrack, which is heavily done by Meatloaf's songwriter, Jim Steinman, saves everything. It is an amazing soundtrack. But the other thing that saves it is this movie is the basis for every Capcom, Konami, side-scrolling beat-em-up you ever played in the 80s and 90s. The plot of the movie is quite literally a biker gang breaks into a concert, steals the lead singer, and her ex-boyfriend has to come and save her.
Oh, shit.
With a ragtag band composed of Michael Pare, Rick Moranis playing a hard-ass, or at least a wannabe hard-ass, which is the funniest damn thing I've ever seen, and Amy Madigan, who sounds like Slappy the Squirrel, and it bothered me the entire damn movie.
You should special guest appearance by animated Go arrow on the side of the screen.
And also, Baby Bill Paxton in the most thankless cameo ever.
Baby William Dafoe.
I was going to say, and a fetal Willem Dafoe is the main villain.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of horrible health condition that can only be held at bay by eating all the scenery that he possibly can get his hands on. Oh, and Diane Lane, who has never been hotter or more dubbed than she is in this movie.
She totally, she dubbed over her voice in there.
Really?
Yeah, and she is so hot in the film, and so hot that you're like, oh wait, that was Diane Lane?
She's actually one of those actresses I think is more attractive as she gets older.
I mean, fair, but you know what I mean? She was that point, she was so young and hot that you were like, oh, I'm not putting it together. That's actually the same person.
Yeah, it's what I showed that to a friend of mine not too long ago, and they spent the entire time going, "That's Diane Lane."
Well, she was on the rise at the time, and the lead actor Michael Pare was starting to get big. He had done Eddie and the Cruisers.
Still never seen it.
I mean,
it's pretty good.
It's shit. I haven't seen it since it was on HBO.
It's no Legend of Billie Jean.
When I watched it a bunch back then, it was basically somebody doing the story of the Doors without having the authorization to do the Doors.
Yeah.
But Michael Pare had been in a bunch of stuff, so he was a up and coming. He was the it guy. He was the guy they were pushing.
He was the Shia LaBeouf of the time.
A little bit more than that.
He had that whole the Outsiders guy. He was the guy who should have been in the Outsiders.
He was the guy that would have been Mickey Rourke, but he never quite measured up to it. And then Mickey Rourke
made a few missteps, and then Mickey Rourke had sex with Kim Basinger, and it was all over.
Yeah.
And is one of the things that makes this movie so hilariously funny is that Michael Pare could not give less of a shit about this movie.
Oh.
No, and it feels that way when you're watching it, quite frankly. He is the main star. He's supposed to be this sort of legendary badass. Everyone's like, whoa, he's back. It's the guy. And he is the least interesting character in the whole film. But that didn't take away from the fact that the soundtrack is so good.
God, yes.
The cinematography is really hot. They spent a shit ton of money on these crazy sets they built for this thing to make this sort of... It's not post-apocalyptic. I don't even know what it is.
It's this weird combination that, like, Batman the Animated Series strides, where everything is very 1950s, but also 1980s. It's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Like, it's a 1980s music video, but it's also 1950s everything else. Like, the cars they drive are all 50s classics. Yeah. The city, everyone's fashion is like that. Everyone's got pompadours.
And let's not forget it bombed when it came out, despite all this. And
also,
they thought it was going to be a huge hit.
Also, it has, what's his name from The Damned? The lead singer.
Dave Vanian?
Lee Ving.
Lee Ving. Thank you.
Lee Ving was in a lot of shit around that time.
It was in Fear, not The Damned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I was like, wait,
that was
what?
when he had his acting career going on. He was in Flashdance.
That dude used to come into the first place I ever worked in Austin, dressed in a full Tom Mix cowboy suit, like white with silver spangles,
Is that
and
right?
a super high hat, and go, "Hey y'all," talking in Texas accent. I was like, "What the hell is going on with this guy?"
We don't do that here.
We don't actually hang out that way. I was like, "Aren't you from California?"
Well, it had that song "I Can Dream About You" by
don't get me. I'm gonna start singing it.
Well, it was ubiquitous. It was on the radio everywhere, and it was oh god, what was his name? I'm forgetting.
Dan Hartman.
Thank you, Dan Hartman, who had been in the Edgar Winters band as the.
It's also got
player.
Stevie Nicks as Sorcerer in there as well.
Yeah, If you ever hear that song "Free Ride," that's all Dan Hartman.
Don't give me a free ride.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm thinking about it. I'm just gonna go home and watch it Dazed and Confused.
But it was always funny because Dan Hartman sings a song, but then you have Stoney Jackson and like a black soul group lip syncing the song in the movie, and you're like, why?
The whole big ending sequence. Look at this. Look at this big ending sequence. All these guys that you can clearly tell is not their voices.
Yeah.
There's so many problems with Streets of Fire, and yet it's an amazing mess.
It absolutely is. And as soon as it came out on Blu-ray, I was just like, I need this in my life now.
I gotta be honest with you guys. You keep mentioning these movies, and all I want to do is when this is over, is go home and watch them.
Right? Well, hopefully I can talk you into watching my last choice of this this particular session, which is, are you ready? This is one that is going to, y'all are, probably a lot of these y'all listening are like, I've never even watched these films. This is one you probably watched and went, you're wrong. The remake of Fright Night is tight, yo.
I feel like I want to argue with you.
I can't find
but I can't even remember. I can't remember it.
It's really, really solid, and I'm going to give 1,000% extra points there for David Tennant coming in and playing the Roddy McDowall part in the original 80s film.
As Chris Angel.
Yeah, he's like, in the original one, he's like, in the original film, it's Roddy McDowall is like a late night horror host, but there are no
like
more
Zachary or something.
Yeah, there are no more late night horror hosts.
Yeah.
That's not even a thing. So they're like, well, what do we make him? And so he's more of a Chris Angel, dark magician type of guy. He's like, I investigate the paranormal and then I do magic tricks. But it's all like with Roddy McDowall. Well, it's all bullshit. It's just all, I don't actually believe vampires and shit exist, but the kids who are encountering actual vampires like, help us. Tenet rocks so hard in this movie, but honestly, everything in it kind of rocks.
Yeah.
Anton Yelchin is legitimately good in that.
Yes.
DJ Qualls is playing, I forget what his friend's name is.
Yeah, me too.
I remember it vaguely being like Boomer or Boner or something like that in the original or something.
It was, wasn't it Evil Ed?
Yes,
Evil Ed.
Evil Ed.
Evil Ed, yeah. Yeah, he's doing it.
Oh,
And
Brewster, you're so cool.
You're so cool.
And his love interest is Darcy from Married with Children,
Yeah.
which is like, you're trying to make her the hot virgin?
On the original, yeah. But
she was.
yeah, it's a really fun remake that like plays with the formula a bit based on, this is now modern day in a necessary way and has such a good cast.
All right, it was Chris Sarandon in the original. Who is it in the remake?
I don't remember.
Oh, it was Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
One of the most underrated actors working in Hollywood. I'm sorry.
I reject that term, underrated.
I'm sorry, but people do. They talk about him like he's some washed up actor. I'm like, look at his career.
I-
Y'all are still pissed because he played Bullseye in a movie you think is one much worse than it actually is.
No. Ever since In Bruges,
No, I'm pretty
people
sure
have
that
been-
one's gauged pretty correctly.
No,
it-
I almost picked that movie.
Ever since In Bruges, everybody's been speaking highly of Colin Farrell, and especially with the Batman
Yeah,
when he
but-
played Robert De Niro.
which that is an overrated movie, but he is one of the better parts of it. Wait till we do.
I want to be mad at you, but I can't.
Wait till we do our episode on movies y'all love, but come on.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be sorry, we might lose subscribers on that episode.
Oh, we definitely will.
Look, oh, y'all are so stupid for liking this. No, sorry, I'm just kidding. No one is stupid for liking anything.
No.
Except for the last president. Anyway, we're done, and we're going to wrap it up now. And thank you. Harris is at drnerdlove.com, and where he can answer all your dating questions unless he doesn't want to, which is your fault. Not
Some of
his.
those questions, you guys.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen some of the ones that he rejects, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Martin said double toasted. Is it .com, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was
Yeah, you can find us on Twitch,
Thought it was
YouTube,
dot-
and doubletoasted.com.
And I thought it was .edu. I didn't know.
We do educate people.
It's true. And I'm at oneofus.net, where you can find our bonus episode where we will talking briefly about more of this type of stuff if you're a Brown Coat subscriber or above for oneofus.net. But more importantly, if you are watching this on YouTube, which is through our Screen Fanatic account, please like us on there. Please subscribe, leave a comment. In fact, we do stuff where we talk about and respond to people's questions.
You talk to us, we'll talk to you.
Yeah, like if you just leave, oh, I like this thing, that's fantastic. We will read it and like hearing from you. But if you leave us an actual question, we'll answer it on the show.
This is not a Q&A at the end of a con panel. Not a quement, you want a question.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
more of a comment, an actual question with a question mark at the
Actual
end.
Thank
question,
you.
yeah. Or a request for, hey, I'd love to hear you guys talk about this in the future. We probably will. Unless Martin's like, ixnay.
Yeah, I'm nobody's trained monkey. I do what I want to do.
But we'll be back next week with more of a crossover event. And thank you for watching. Finger guns.